Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is finally here! Full disclosure, I was super excited for Call of Duty Black Ops 2 to come out. I loved the first Black Ops more than I probably should have, and sunk hours into it even well after Modern Warfare 3 released and tried to steal its thunder. Now Black Ops 2 is here, and it's time to take a look at whether or not I think it's all I wanted from it and more. The game is available on PC, Xbox 360, PS3, and will also see a Wii U release, with all versions retailing for $59.99, including on Steam. Let's dive right in with the single-player campaign. The Call of Duty franchise single-player wrote the formula for story-driven FPS sections years ago. The single-player is often forgettable at best, and used as nothing more than to fill the space on the disc that wasn't used up by the multiplayer assets. Surprisingly though, Black Ops 2 tries mostly successfully to break the mold by introducing branching choices that impact the story direction. The only real issue with the system is that the choices are never clearly laid out, and in fact the system itself is never actually outright explained. It's not until you begin paying attention to the post-mission briefing reports that you realize your decisions are actually impacting how future missions will play out. Black Ops 2 doesn't eliminate the cinematic-style set pieces we've come to love and know from the series, they just further serve to cement the impact of your choices. A particular mission mid-game on a floating tax haven in the Cayman Islands demonstrates the consequences of your actions particularly well, as choices made in this mission drastically impact the level of AI support provided to you throughout the rest of the game, and even set into motion the beginning of a few main characters' ultimate fates. Very difficult and time-sensitive Strike Force missions, which can only be attempted a limited number of times, with each success or failure having a permanent effect on the campaign, are also introduced around the start of the game's second act. You can ignore these missions, but doing so removes almost any chance of a successful ending, and is likely to increase the difficulty of the final section of the game significantly. The last new addition to single-player is the introduction of multiplayer-style loadouts for campaign missions. It allows for custom approaches to a mission based on your favorite playtype and weapons. For example, you can choose to have a sniper rifle as your secondary weapon and pick enemies off from a distance, or go in full-on guns a-blazing with an RPG. It may not have the depth of a strategy game or anything of the sort, but it sure does add a lot of depth to the FPS genre, and it allows you to play the game multiple times and have a different approach each and every time. Quite frankly, it's the most novel and innovative thing that I've seen in the series in a long, long time. But without further ado, we're all here to see the multiplayer, I'm sure, so let's take a look at that next. The multiplayer remains largely the same, and yet somehow manages to seem entirely different through a series of gameplay refinements. Lone wolf kill hunters and campers are no longer rewarded with increasing power, as perks are no longer completely linked to weapon performance. Instead, a much more sensible set of modification unlocks based on weapon level provides a tighter, more balanced experience. Capturing points, assisting UAVs, and defending a teammate will be much more valuable methods of topping the board, alongside those kills that actually provide a benefit to the objective. It rewards strategic team-based play, something that sadly the Call of Duty community will have to take some time to get used to. Instead of trash talk about your mom, expect radio chatter to be people calling out enemy movements, suggestions for the next capture point, and even tactics in regard to moving as a group or flanking a point. Going hand in hand with the refinements they made to gameplay itself, Treyarch has tweaked Create a Class, introducing a 10-point system that prevents heavily unbalanced builds and forces players to create a number of custom classes to use based on the battlefield scenario unfolding before them, rather than a single super soldier class like in past games. You'll be restricted to only 10 items in your loadout chosen from perks, weapons, mods, wildcards, sidearms, and supplementary equipment. The only real downside to multiplayer on the PC is the return of the matchmaking system from the original Black Ops. Although ping is now the primary search trigger for matches rather than region like in the past game, matchmaking still leaves a lot to be desired. But once you're in a game, you'll be so caught up in the action and fun that you'll forget about the poor experiences you had in the lobby. Black Ops 2, like other COD games before it, has a Zombies mode. However, this time around, the Zombies mode is something every owner of the game should try. It offers an amazing experience that could easily stand alone as its own survival horror game, or even a Walking Dead licensed title. Zombies has a huge open-world map that can be explored on foot or with an automated bus route. At each location, you'll fight against wave upon wave of zombies, and in many cases, the environment itself. There's a solo play option for zombies, and that's what I'm demonstrating in my playthrough here, but the real fun will be bringing along 3 of your friends and trying to survive as long as you can, a la Left 4 Dead. Playing solo can be easily frustrating as the zombies overwhelm your ability to repair barriers and watch multiple angles of attack. But when you've got friends with you to watch your back, it becomes a frantic, hard-paced way to try to survive the zombie apocalypse. Yes, this game has it all. It feels exactly like it should, and to be honest, I think I put more time into this than I did the story, and I've put a lot of time into the story in the single day that I've had this game. Anyway, on to my conclusions after the break. Black Ops 2 has more of everything I loved about Black Ops 1, little to nothing I didn't like about Modern Warfare 3, and improves on nearly every aspect of the series, from how single-player FPS campaign plays out, to how we work together online in multiplayer games. It's not perfect, the story is still far too short, and the multiplayer community still leaves a lot to be desired, but its shortcomings are few and far between, and are easily forgivable given the fun contained within the game. I can easily say it's worth a buy if you have any interest in it at all. Whether you're new to FPS games or a hardened Call of Duty veteran, there's something here for everyone. Until next time, guys, see ya!